Good evening, everyone. I've just come home from a busy day with the dogs to find a delivery on our doorstep of worms. Right, I've been struggling with my worms the last few months, to be honest. I hate paying the postage on them. So I order enough that the postage is free, but then the last probably third of worms I struggle to keep alive. They shrink down, they're small, the axolotls aren't impressed. So I've decided it's just not worth it. So this time I've ordered half the amount, just sucked it up and paid for postage. So they have got some lovely, fresh, large worms today. So for those of you who don't know us, this is Jack's Axolotl. This is Lottie, Leucistic. So we've got Wild, Lucy, and Jellybean is hiding at the back there, who's my copper. Right, let's get on with it because they're hungry. So, I feed mine, I overfeed them about twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I found when I was putting in sort of the 2 worms a day, one piggy, someone, would eat more and the others wouldn't get a look in. So I've changed that and I now overfeed less often. Right, I'd quite like Jax to move out of the way, but I'm going to send some down to Lottie, which will spook Jax, but I've got to get it started somewhere. So I don't hand feed them as such. I put the worms in. There we go. So that's worked really well. That's got Lottie one. Jax can scent this one here, but I will put a few more. Actually, I'll probably have rinsed off too many. Oh, Jax, don't be so silly. How am I going to get worms to you if you're going to the plants? Hey? That's not practical, is it? I've got a lot of work to do with plants in here. They've been decimated by Jax. He really is the culprit. And as you can see, there's a green tinge on the back. The whole tank needs a really good clean out. But I've got a mix in there of live plants and artificial, which works really well for me. And 2 mixed sands, which gives quite a nice colour. But it does all need just a bit of a tidy up, really, ready for winter. So let's get some worms into Jax here if I can, without them getting caught up in the plants. There we go. So you can see these are nice big juicy worms. And what will happen is I never get dead worms left. People sort of say, doing it this way, are you left with them? No, because the axolotls are actually hungry. So what they will do is go, although he's taken in too much. It's more than you can manage, mate. No, he has managed it. Well done. Having said that, I think I've washed off too many, so I'm not going to give them all to them. I'd quite like Jellybean to come into a better place to give some down to him. He used to be really bad at eating. He was my rehome one. The other 2 are brothers, and I've had them since they were 6 months old. They're now 5.5, nearly 6 years old now. And Jellybean we estimated to be about the same. He was same gender, obviously, and about the same length when he came to me. So while I'm waiting for Jellybean to move, if he will, let's have a quick look at them. Can you see Lottie's floofs always look good? Pretty much always look good. Jack's, theirs varies. They really do. They never look amazing, but they often look good. And they usually look okay. Jellybeans are sort of somewhere in between. They're always neat. And people talk about the sort of tank quality of water and things. It's not that. You can see these 3 are in the same tank, same aquarium, living off the same food in the same scenario. So I'm not convinced how much of it is down to sort of conditions. Right, Mr. Jellybean, this really isn't helpful. I can just about see his head there. Can you see just flapping his floofs? There we go. But if he could just take a step or two back for me, that would make life a whole lot easier. I want a complete change around of the aquarium, actually. They use the 3 pots as shelter regularly, but I really want to get some of these plants properly planted. It's harder dealing with plants with axolotls because they're cold water. So in a heated sort of tropical tank, you can get all sorts of lovely plants that will grow in the substrate and look lovely. It's not so easy with these guys. Anubias do well, Java ferns do well. That's an Anubias, that's doing quite well. As you can see, the Javas aren't looking brilliant. They like to be glued onto wood and things. And I did initially have loads glued onto my 2 pieces of wood. I've got this one and another one to spare. But they came off in time. Maybe I should try that again. That'd probably not be a bad idea. But I want to get more live plants in here. The ones at the back of those pots are doing really well, aren't they, actually? And coming up to Christmas, we'll have Java moss around as well, which is good. We've got a little bit of sort of moss balls left. But not a lot. Right, I think I'm just going to have to dump some more worms in. And we'll sit and watch for a bit. And then, like I said, I have taken too many out, washed them off, so some of those can have a reprieve and go back in the tubs. So let's put some more down. If I go down here, Jellybean will be able to smell them. They're in front of Lottie. Leave you with Lottie for a minute while you think about whether he can manage any more. So they're actually actively crawling over towards Jellybean, which is a sort of form of self-feeding. We'll see if he'll take any. And I might just drop a couple more down to Jax. Lottie loves to go hunting for them. Jax, if he can, would rather grab them. My aim was off those. But at least they're in front of his nose. But he often does stuff himself and then realises he's full. These are really nice, decent sized worms. There we go. And Jellybean's grabbed one too. You can see a slightly better view of him. So you can see why I feed more of them less often. This is Jack's 3rd one. So if I were only giving him 2 each day, he'd have already had more than his quota. There we go. Jellybean's got one. Look how quickly that's gone down. They're very efficient. Spit sand out, keep the worm. You can see what I mean about his floofs. They're never spectacular, but they never look bad. They're always just tidy. Quite nice that they are eating today. The last couple of times I've tried to video or do a live sort of feeding, they have told me they've had enough. Well, they haven't even tried. They won't have eaten for several days, they just haven't put the effort in. But I think that's because they really weren't so keen on those last lot of worms. Whereas obviously this lot they're much happier with. Sorry if you can hear any munching in the background. Merlin knows you've been absolute stars today, and they're just chewing on very happily on some marrow bones. There's contented looking axolotls. Hello, little Lloyd. Merlin. Hello, you. Good boy. Hey, Merlin. Is it their turn? Are they having some dinner? You've had yours, haven't you? Good boy. And that means once these are fed, we've got happy animals all through the house. A lot of the worms have slithered off, but they'll be easily enough findable. Like I say, I don't ever find dead ones in there. I am just going to drop another one. Let's drop one down in front of Mr. here. That's gone way off course. That went off course. Yeah, I really am rubbish with worm directing. Put another one down towards Jelly Bean. There we go, he was hungry for another one. People ask if axolotls are complicated to keep. I don't think they are. It's the filtration system is the main thing to keep an eye on. As I've said, my tank needs a really good thorough clean out soon. But in all honesty, I only do that every 3 months or so. And I only clean out external filter every 6 months. Because it just doesn't need it, as long as you don't overstock your tank. This is a 4 foot by 3 foot by 2 foot aquarium. And 3 axolotls are the maximum you'd put in that size. May get away with a couple more if they were babies. But then if they were babies, you probably wouldn't quite have them in this depth. People have asked about whether the aquarium's too deep. No, it's not, because I provide layers for them to get on. All these, I'll find them planted, landed on the plants in the morning. That's what trashes them. But that's why it's not too deep. They can go up for air, and they can pause on the way back down or on the way up. So can you see the stuff coming out this worm? They don't always like the flavour of that. What do you think, Lottie? And that can really put them off sometimes. So if your axolotls don't feed for a while, it might be worth looking whether it is that batch of worms. I used to have wormery and produce them myself, but because I tend to go away for quite a long break in the summer, I've lost them the last 2 summers. So that's why I now buy them in. So I've just sat and settled down, and of course first thing Jax does is goes and finds another worm. You can see they really have 0 sense of personal space. They will just walk over each other. As they get fuller, it does become sort of almost more of a battle for them to just squeeze that last worm down. You really are a greedy monkey, Jax. And we can see Jellybean's face a little bit better there now. And so he's the one who will go off and hunt for the worms later on, because that's what he prefers to do. Hey, Lottie. Oh, gorgeous, aren't you? Right. I think that will do for the night. We will leave Jax with his nearly eaten worm. I hope you've enjoyed meeting them, those of you who haven't met them before. They are my 3 Axolotl, the Axolotl gang. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care, everyone. We'll see you all soon.